What's good? It's a stream caution. Today I'm going to go with my official WWE WrestleMania 42 predictions. Going to go over every match on the card, what I thought of the build of every single match, what I could think leading to after WrestleMania. If you like weekly wrestling content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so don't miss any of my content. I'm going to jump straight into the predictions. Starting off with night one, I want to start off with the Women's World Heavyweight Championship match between Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan. I've been liking the story that they've been telling with Stephanie and Liv. They've been mainly telling the story with Stephanie saying that Liv needs the Judgment Day, constantly hide behind the Judgment Day, hides behind Raquel, Roxanne, and Dominic Mysterio, constantly can't do things on her own, and that basically she got special treatment and that she didn't have to struggle as much as she did where she comes from, not being able to have a wrestling ring, coming up from a very poor environment, while Liv, on the other hand, feels like that it's not her fault, that she was privileged, that she was able to be in the Performance Center, and that it's, that Stephanie had to fight and struggle her way, that it's not her fault. I love the story that they're telling the story basically like the PC versus like the indie scene, kind of. I like what they're doing here. Now, I'm going with Stephanie Vaquer. I do think she's going to retain here because from a story perspective of what they're telling us, it kind of feels like it's fit for Stephanie to win. I am a bit iffy on that because I'm not fully confident, because I could easily see some Judgment Day shenanigans. But originally when this match first got announced, I thought originally that they was going to have Roxanne and Raquel potentially cost her the match, but they haven't really teased that at all recently at all, really. They kind of just haven't really shown Roxanne. Roxanne has been dealing with an injury, so that's a big part. But they haven't really been teasing Raquel at all in this storyline, so I don't really think it's going to be any shenanigans. Well, actually, it's a Judgment Day match, so maybe there will be shenanigans, but I still think Stephanie will win this match. What could be leading to afterwards? I think afterwards, whether Liv Morgan wins or lose, she's going to be doing something with the Judgment Day eventually. She's going to be doing something with Raquel, Roxanne. Stephanie, on the other hand, is very interesting because win or lose this match, I don't know what you do with her, honestly. There's things to do. There's matches and feuds she hasn't had. It's just based off her booking and based off how they portray her. I just don't know what's next for her. But there's obviously people that she can face. It's just that the way WWE books her, it's just very weird to picture what's next for her, even if she wins or even if she loses. So that would be very interesting. But I do think Stephanie will win. I think they are telling the story of like the babyface underdog, have to overcome the odds, have to struggle from the bottom. Now that she's finally here, proving that she's one of the top women in the women's division. I think that's the story that they're going with. So I do think Stephanie Vaquer will retain. But I wouldn't really be mad if Liv Morgan wins, especially if they end up doing a Raquel or Roxanne feud for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sign me up. But I think they're going to eventually do that feud without the title personally, because I can't remember the last time a faction started feuding with each other for a title. The last one I could possibly think of is the Bloodline with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Other than that, I can't think of a faction that was like in the middle of a breakup and they feuded for a title. I can't remember the last time they have done that. So outside of the Bloodline. So we'll see eventually how this unfolds. I've been liking this story. I like the feud. It's been one of the better book feuds of WrestleMania, which is very shocking because I thought this feud would be terrible, but it's been one of the better book feuds. But I have Stephanie Vaquer retaining the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Moving on to a new, fresh feud that recently started between Seth Rollins versus Gunther. I like what they've done here. This feud has not been a feud that's been going on for that long. This has been a very short feud, which is kind of a good thing because it's a good thing that this feud hasn't been that long, because if it was a long feud, WWE probably would have messed that feud up like they messed up some of these other feuds. But I like what they've been doing here. I like what they're doing here. I like the idea of just putting these two guys in the ring, have a banger match, because this wasn't the original plan. The original plan was Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins, but due to Braun Breaker's injury, they didn't have no plans for Seth. They didn't have no plans for Gunther, so just put them in the match. Plus, Gunther recently on Raw did explain his reasoning. Basically, he said that, look, when I was World Heavyweight Champion, you've been ducking smoke. You constantly call yourself the best, but you're not the best. I'm better than you, in that you was ducking smoke for me when I was World Champ, so I'm here to prove that I'm better than you. I like it. I like that Gunther just wants all the smoke with Seth Rollins to prove that he's better and shut him up. I think Gunther needs to win this victory. It's kind of weird because this is a match that both guys kind of need to win, because Seth Rollins just returned. This is his first match off of return, and Gunther has been killing legends left and right, so he kind of needs to win. But I think Gunther will win, but I do think it's going to be shenanigans, because when you typically have a match with two top guys like this, WWE rarely has a clean finish. It is very rare when WWE have two top guys in the same ring and it's a clean finish. It rarely happens. I don't know why that is. It rarely happens. So there's going to be some shenanigans here. I think Braun Breaker makes his return. and he's going to attack Seth Rollins in the match, costing him the match. Gunther wins this match. And I think that's the right call. You leave off with Seth Rollins going after Braun Breaker. That's the story you need to be telling anyway. Gunther wins a necessary match to make sure he keeps his momentum after retiring Goldberg, AJ Styles, and John Cena. So it works out perfectly in every single way. And then the Raw after Mania, you could tell the story of Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins telling that story. It's perfect for everybody, personally. Plus, Seth Rollins, he's a made man. There's not really much that anyone can really do to ruin his reputation. So him taking a loss, especially if Braun Breaker interferes, works out perfectly. Continue to tell that story with the Vision. So I'm cool with this. This match should be an absolute banger. This match should, at bare minimum, get 20 minutes. This match should be an absolute banger. I think this probably could be the match of the night, to be honest. So I'm very excited for this match. But I have Gunther picking up the victory. Moving on to the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. This feud has been very disappointing. It's so frustrating that this feud has not been as good as it should have been. Now, to be fair, the main reason why this feud isn't as good as it is because it dragged on way too long. Like, if the plan, because we all knew the plan was Becky Lynch and AJ at WrestleMania. It's just that they pulled the trigger on this feud way too soon. That was the main issue with this. But nonetheless, the story that they've really been telling her is that basically AJ Lee has been getting the better of Becky Lynch every single time they have faced each other. And Becky Lynch just can't get the better of her. And honestly, I think they're going to continue that story because I just find it confusing that if you're just going to have AJ Lee just continue to win only for her to lose at WrestleMania, that's just a bit confusing. Now, the argument I can see is that AJ Lee isn't always there. She is a part-timer, so they could put the champion on a full-timer. Me, personally, I'm just ready for Becky Lynch to do something different. Like, I think she's done everything she could for the IC title. I think she's did. I don't think there's much left to do with the IC title unless she's going to put over like a top babyface. But the problem is there's no babyfaces on Raw that I could think of that Becky Lynch can put over unless it's Stephanie Vaquer. But I have her retaining, so it doesn't really make sense for Stephanie to go after Becky Lynch in this scenario. So, yeah, I think it's time for Becky Lynch to go at the world title scene. I think this heel character needs to be in the main event scene. AJ Lee could hold that title. She could potentially feud with a Raquel, potentially a Roxanne Perez. You know, there's heels that could face AJ Lee for that title, and so I think it's probably best for her to keep it. I don't really care who wins this match because it's unfortunate because I love Becky Lynch, I like AJ Lee, but I just don't care about it because this has been dragged out too much, and then their matches haven't been that impressive. They have had decent promos here and there, but for the most part, it's been very cringe to watch. So it's very unfortunate that a dream match like this should be a lot better, but it's like, I just don't really care. But I think AJ Lee will retain because, like I said, the story they've been telling is that AJ Lee constantly gets the better of Becky Lynch. I'm assuming they're going to do the same weak-ass, repetitive tap-out angle that they've shown like 3 times already. It's like, I'm assuming they're going to have her tap out again, which is so stupid because, like, why? But they're probably going to go that route again, knowing WWE. So I'm going to have AJ Lee retain the Intercontinental Women's Championship. Now for the 6-man tag team match between Division, IShowSpeed versus the Usos and LA Knight. I like what they've been doing here. This is a perfect example of celebrities being involved in wrestling without it being overbearing and bad. This is how you use a wrestler. This is how you use a celebrity in wrestling, not them being put in the main event scene. But I like what they've been doing with IShowSpeed. IShowSpeed constantly interfering in matches, costing LA Knight matches by accidentally costing them the match. Then aligning himself with the Vision on accident, not wanting to be partnered with the Vision, but have no choice. I like what they're doing here. Who's going to win this match? I think the Usos and LA Knight will win this match. I think the curse will play a factor. I think they're going to continue the curse angle with the Vision, with IShowSpeed. Potentially, Danhausen could potentially be in the match, cause a distraction. I think there's going to be a moment with the brass knuckles where IShowSpeed tries to attack Usos, the Knight, whoever, and then he accidentally punches Logan Paul or Austin Theory. That potentially costs him the match, but continuing that curse. So I think the Usos and LA Knight are going to win. Now I know there's some people potentially saying the Usos could potentially turn on LA Knight. I think that just wouldn't make sense. If they're going to do a turn, it should be at night 2, not at night 1. If they're going to do some type of turn, it should be at night 2 in the main event, not in this tag team match with a celebrity. So I have the Usos and Knight winning. I'm actually interested in this match for some weird reason. I'm actually interested in this match. So I don't think the match will be great. I think it'll be a fine match, but I don't think it's going to be anything special. But I have the Usos and LA Knight winning. We get a women's tag team championship match, a 4-way tag team championship match between Bayley, Lyra, Charlotte, the Bella Twins, and the Irresistible Forces. This match, I'm not really the most hyped for, mainly because the build has been very boring and very repetitive, where tag team match happens, interference at the end of the match, brawl, the irresistible forces stand tall. It's been a very repetitive format. Who's going to win this match? Now, there's been this thing with the Bellas. They haven't been on TV recently because they have a leg injury, and the rumors are reporting that if the Bellas can't be in the match, then the Kabuki Warriors will replace them. Now, due to the injury, my original prediction was the Bellatons were going to win this match, but due to that injury, even if they are in the match, I think that's going to raise some questions for potentially not putting the belt on them. I'm actually going to go with Bayley and Lyra here. I'm not confident in it. They've been the women that I think deserves it the most, especially because this would be the perfect story to tell. Because last year at Mania, Bayley and Lyra were supposed to compete for the women's tag team titles last year, but Bayley got attacked by Becky Lynch, and then Becky Lynch and Lyra won. This will be a full circle moment if Bayley and Lyra could come back, win the titles like they was originally supposed to do last year. So this will be a full circle moment person. Plus, they've been telling the story of potentially Lyra and Bayley potentially turning heel as well, being a heel duo, which I'm also very interested in as well. So I'm hoping for Bayley and Lyra. The team I don't want to win. Please do not give it to Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Don't give it to them, and don't give it to the Bellas. Like, please don't. If you're gonna have someone win, just have it be Bayley and Lyra, or have it be the irresistible forces. Anyone in the no, like, please. I'm hoping for Bayley and Lyra. They've been booked terribly for the longest time. They deserve it, especially because Bayley got screwed last year out of WrestleMania, which was ridiculous. So I'm hoping that they reward her this year, have her win this, have her moment with Lyra after all the struggles they've been through, all the losses. So I'm hoping that's the case. I'm not confident in it, but I have Bayley and Lyra become your new women's tag team champions. Moving on, we got an unsanctioned match between Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. I've been like what they've been doing here. This is very similar to like Stephanie and Liv Morgan, where they haven't had the most TV time, but whenever they have TV time, they execute it with little brawls, little good backstage vignette segments. You have Drew McIntyre constantly going on this. He's been tripping during this entire feud, constantly bringing up Jacob Fatu going to jail, mentioned that he belonged behind bars and that he belongs to be behind being chained. He's been tripping this entire feud. The winner is obviously going to be Jacob Fatu. This should be a banger match. The last time WWE had an unsanctioned match, which was KO and Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber last year, if I'm not mistaken, that was a banger match. I hope they have blood because they need blood. Sami and KO didn't have blood, so I'm assuming this one probably won't have blood, but I think this one should have blood. But the story they've been telling was that Jacob thinks Drew attacked him. Jacob was on the shelf for months. He wants revenge. It makes sense for the babyface to finally get his revenge on the guy he think attacked him, so it makes sense. Plus, Drew McIntyre is clearly going back to his old losing ways of him being the top heel to build up the next babyface that they want him to beat. So it makes sense. Drew McIntyre, unfortunately, is going to go back to his losing ways. They're going to build up Jacob Fatu. What could lead next to Jacob Fatu? I'm assuming this is going to be some momentum to use to eventually put him in the world title scene, because I don't see him going after the U.S. title in the future or any mid-card. I think this is perfect for him to go after the main world titles. Potentially could go after Cody Rhodes after beating Drew McIntyre, because he did have some beef there with Cody Rhodes in the beginning of like January when they was initially potentially doing a fatal four-way at Mania. So I think they're going to run that back, potentially go back to that story eventually. So very interesting how this all overall plays out, but I do have Jacob Fatu beating Drew McIntyre. Now for the main event of night one, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the undisputed WWE Championship. This feud, I'm not even going to go in depth on this feud because everything that has been said about this feud has been said. It's not good. Very disappointing. The fact that we have Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee involved in this is ridiculous. But you have Randy Orton turning heel, of course, turning heel on Cody, listening to the voices due to the help of Pat McAfee for whatever reason. They're telling the story of Cody being able to defeat Randy. Can he get as violent as Randy? Can he go to Randy's level? This is very interesting. I do think there's going to be shenanigans because based off history, when they involve a celebrity similar to what they did last year, they're going to involve Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll in this match. There's going to be some shenanigans where Pat McAfee or Jelly Roll helps the other guy. I'm hoping that if they're going to involve Pat and Jelly Roll in the match, just have it to where they get taken out early in the match, where Jelly Roll or Pat McAfee attack each other early in the match, and then they're not an issue for the rest of the match. I'm hoping that's the case, but I highly doubt it. I actually have Cody Rhodes winning this match. I think Cody Rhodes will retain. I think the better, interesting story is that Cody retains, Cody gets a little bit, Randy gets more crazy, more obsessed with winning the WWE Championship, and gets more violent as time goes on. I know some people say that he needs the victory. No, he doesn't. This isn't like John Cena last year, because John Cena that was his first time ever turning heel. That was new. We have seen Randy turn heel before, so it's not the same. But also too, with Cody Rhodes' track record at WrestleMania recently, he typically wins a match, then loses. At 38, he won. 39, he loses to Roman. 40, he won. 41, he lost. So, based off history, it seems like Cody Rhodes is winning this match. And I think it's going to be via help of Jelly Roll. I don't know how Jelly Roll is going to help him, but it's going to be some dumb shit similar to last year where the celebrity is the reason why they win. I don't know. It's going to be a chair spot. I don't know if he's going to punch Randy, because Randy Orton did attack Jelly Roll. So I'm assuming Jelly Roll will get his payback, get his receipt in the future. So yeah, I have Cody Rhodes retaining. I don't know how to feel about it because I don't mind either guy winning, but to be honest, I just don't care for this feud. The match I'm interested in, but the story, not really, which is very unfortunate because the story should be amazing. It's an easy story to tell, but WWE has completely fumbled that. But I have Cody Rhodes retaining the WWE Undisputed Championship. Moving on to night 2, we're going to start with the women's WWE Women's Championship match between Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. This is another feud that is very frustrating to watch, which is very upsetting because I like both of these women, but it gets very hard to defend both women when this feud is really bad. I'm not going to really speak about the feud or nothing because there's really nothing to really tell. I think Rhea Ripley is winning. I'm not confident in that pick because I could see Jade Cargill winning. I really can. It is that Rhea Ripley doesn't lose cleanly, and the only person she has lost clean to is Io Sky. I just don't see a world where Jade Cargill wins unless it's due cheating. But the thing is, I don't know how she's going to cheat in this match because, for one, Meechin and BFAB are not the people that's going to help her cheat in this match. They're not, because we have already seen on SmackDown that Rhea Ripley can easily take them out anytime she wants. So that's really not going to be a factor. Plus, I think Io Sky will make an appearance in this match helping Rhea Ripley. Io Sky is not portraying Rhea Ripley. They're not doing that. If they was ever going to tell that story, we know we would get 6 months of storytelling before that would ever happen. So Io Sky is not portraying. Now, I know there's some people that are thinking Bianca may return, confront Jade. I just don't think that's a good idea now because, for one, I don't even know we don't know the update of Bianca's injury. So I'm not going to predict Bianca being at Mania because we just don't know. So I'm not going to really assume that Bianca's going to get there or be there. So I'm just going to leave Bianca Belair out of this. But again, I just don't know how Jade would be able to win this match without cheating. That's the only thing I can't think of. So I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley winning. I'm not confident, but if you want to build a new star, have people take Jade Cargill seriously, you kind of need her to win this match. But my thing is this, majority of fans, especially the IWC, you guys already don't like Jade Cargill. So her winning isn't going to make you like her more. So that's just my thought process. But I think Rhea Ripley is going to win this match. I don't mind who wins this match because I think both people will kind of benefit either way. But I have Rhea Ripley winning. I don't feel confident, but I have Rhea Ripley becoming your new WWE Women's Champion. Moving on to Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor is becoming the demon for this match. I am not going to speak about this match because anyone who has watched my channel knows how much I do not care for this feud. I have been over this Judgment Day feud for a while now. I don't really care. This feud should have happened months ago, really. This could have honestly happened at SummerSlam, to be honest, but they decided to just drag it out for whatever reason, and now we have it. I don't know why the demon is here, because why is Finn Balor being the demon for Dominic Mysterio? Honestly, this should be a 5-minute match. I'm going to be honest. This should be a squash match. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sorry. The Finn Balor should win this match, but he should squash Dominic. I'm sorry. There's no reason for Dominic Mysterio should be having a competitive wrestling match with Finn Balor as the demon. I'm sorry. Like, this should be a squash match. Make it a 5-10 minute squash match and let's move on. Who gives a fuck, honestly? We already know this isn't going to lead to nothing for Finn Balor. We know Finn Balor isn't winning any gold. At most, he's going to be a mid-card champion. So let's just move on. And Dominic, we know Dominic is the future. So let's just move on from this. I don't really care personally. Finn Balor wins. Moving on to the United States Championship match between Sami Zayn and Trick Williams. This match, I'm actually excited for. I've been liking the build. I know a lot of people are upset because they're going to complain about Carmelo Hayes, which I completely understand. Sami, a lot of people are turning on Sami, which I think is lame as hell because, again, it's not Sami Zayn's fault. You can't complain that Sami Zayn is the one that won it, but don't complain that Trick Williams cost them the match. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, Sami Zayn is the U.S. champ. I like what they're doing with Sami's character, having him finally take advantage of opportunities, him finally changing his ways, him starting, to listen to the voices and listening to the advice that Cody and Randy have given him, that sometimes you gotta be the bad guy. Sometimes you gotta be the bad guy to get what you want, and that's the story to tell him. Trick Williams is basically the annoying, arrogant heel that's been antagonizing Sammy for the longest time about him not getting the job done. This could be very interesting because I don't think it's that clear that Trick is winning. I think there's a story here to tell if Sammy wins. Because here's my thing: Sammy can win by cheating Trick Williams, give him more nuclear heel heat because he has cost two guys who are heavily loved the U.S. Championship. He cost Mello and he cost Trick Williams. Now he gets nuclear heel heat as a heel instead of a babyface, and you could tell that story. Do I feel like they're going to tell that story? Absolutely not. I think they want Trick Williams to win the United States Championship. He's way too over to not push him to the moon. I think they want Sami Zayn to take the loss here. Plus, you can still tell the story of Sami Zayn becoming a heel eventually with him losing to Trick Williams, losing to the guy that he couldn't be, and then him, going on this deeper path. Plus, Trick Williams is just way too over. Plus, I'm eventually assuming that they're going to go Mello and Trick for the U.S. title down the line. Mello try to get his revenge. So I think that's the route they're telling. But me personally, I think a more interesting story is Sammy winning, pissing off more fans, and him going down a deeper heel run. I think that's more interesting, but I could be a bit biased, but I think Trick Williams will become your new United States champion. Moving on to the best booked WrestleMania feud, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. This story is very simple. Who's the biggest beast? Who's the top dominant force in WWE? And it's very simple. Obafemi needs to win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I am a bit afraid, though, because based off Brock Lesnar's history, it looks like Brock Lesnar most likely will win. And plus, Brock Lesnar never stood tall in any of the segments with Oba. Oba always stood tall. So that's a bit of a red flag. So do not be surprised if Brock Lesnar wins. I'm going to be mad, but it wouldn't shock me if he wins. So be prepared if Brock Lesnar does win, but Oba needs to win. You're building up your next guy, the future of the company potentially. Brock Lesnar doesn't need this victory. He's going to retire soon. It looks like Gunther's probably going to retire him at SummerSlam. So have Brock Lesnar put over younger talent on his way out. This is the way to do it. There's no reason for Oba to lose this match. This doesn't benefit nobody if Oba wins. It doesn't benefit Brock Lesnar if he wins. You need Oba to win. He looked completely dominant. You listen to the reactions. The fans are over with him. Oba needs to win. I'm not even going to speak too much time on this, honestly. Oba needs to win. I don't know what you do with Oba afterwards. Hey, potentially put the IC title on him. Go after Penta. Demolish him. Have him have a long reign similar to Gunther. But Oba needs to win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Oba needs to win. That's my pick. Oba defeats Brock Lesnar. Now for the Intercontinental Championship ladder match between Penta, Javon Evans, Rey Mysterio, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Dragon Lee. This match should be an absolute banger. There's no story to tell here. There's no real feuds between any of the participants. It's just a bunch of high-flying guys outside of Rusev competing for the IC Championship. And I don't mind it anyway because Penta just recently won the IC title, so he couldn't really build a feud towards WrestleMania. But nonetheless, I think Penta is going to retain here. The only person I could see is Javon Evans, but I think they're going to slowly build Javon Evans still. Plus, I think they're going to tell the story between Javon and Kofi Kingston and the New Day still. I still think they're going to tell that story, so I don't think Javon is going to win yet. But that's the only other person I could potentially see. Rey Mysterio, I just don't see him winning. JD, again, he's going to be with the Judgment Day, but I don't see him winning any singles gold. Rusev, I would like to see Rusev win, but they haven't really promoted Rusev in a certain way to really make me believe that. So, and Dragon Lee it's very inconsistent on TV. So I think the obvious choice is Penta. He's extremely over, just won the championship. Have him give him a little reign, do a couple open challenges, hold the title for a bit, and then eventually drop it down the line. But I have Penta retaining. I don't really have much to say, but I do think this match will be amazing. This could potentially be the best match in the entire Mania card, potentially be the best match of night 2 personally, but I have Penta retaining the Intercontinental Championship. Now for the night 2 main event, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match is very unpredictable. I can see either guy winning. The story itself was good at the beginning with just two guys hating each other, but then it kind of went a bit downhill. I still think it's better booked than Cody and Randy. But nonetheless, I've been liking what they've been doing with the feud a bit. I do think it should have been way better, but nonetheless, it's still a decent feud nonetheless. Who wins? I have Roman Reigns. I think Roman's going to win. It wouldn't shock me if Punk wins. Now, most people want Punk to win because he's a full-timer. Roman's a part-timer, which I understand. I just think people overrate the full time of CM Punk because we got to stop acting like CM Punk is defending his championship consistently. He has defended the title 4 times in 165 days. Just saying. That's not consistent. Like, I don't know why people have this idea that just because you're there every week that you're defending the title. You could be there consistently and not defend your title. That's why I hate the idea of full-time, part-time, because the way WWE does full-time performers, you're not defending your title that often. Like, you're defending your title once every 2 months with WWE, not every week, not every 2 weeks, sometimes not even every month. Sometimes it's once every 2 months. Look at Julia, look at Jade. Like, so that's why I think people overrate the whole CM Punk stuff, because CM Punk is not this fighting champion the way they're trying to promote him. But nonetheless, I think Roman will win here. I think the story they've been telling here is that Roman can't get the job done without the Usos. Roman needs the Usos. He needs the bloodline. So I think that's the story they're telling here. Punk, on the other hand, the only argument I can see Punk winning is that he's a full-time performer and that you want him to get that WrestleMania main event victory. But the story with Punk was never about him winning a main event. It was just about him getting it. He already got it. And he's getting the night 2 main event. So he finally got the actual night 2 main event. So that's all he really needs. But I can see Punk winning it as well. The only thing is, I just don't know what you do with either guy after this. I don't know who they feud with afterwards. The only thing I can think of is maybe Jey Uso for CM Punk, because they've been doing the Usos and Punk in this feud, but they kind of toned that down a bit. So I don't know what you do with Punk afterwards. Roman, on the other hand, I could easily see Roman being fed to a Brock Lesnar. I mean, not Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, to a Braun Breaker. I could easily see one of those routes. So very interested how this overall plays out, but I have Roman Reigns becoming your new World Heavyweight Champion. Those are my overall thoughts, opinions, predictions of WrestleMania 42. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below in the comment section. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.